The year is 2009. A Japanese game development company releases their new masterpiece, Demon Souls. Soon followed 2 years later by one you may be even more familiar with, Dark Souls. Why are these games important? These games were fundamental to the creation of a new subgenre of video games, Souls-like. As the name suggests, they would take inspiration from the main characteristics of the Souls series, sometimes even referring to Bloodborne and Sekiro. Let's now fast forward a couple of years, okay? Let's go to 2018. Fear and Hunger gets released on Steam and itch.io. It had a very niche community at the start, but now it is expanding more and more as the years pass. And we arrive to 2023. A new game gets released, taking inspiration from the Stalker series, but mainly from Fear and Hunger. Could this be the birth of the first ever Fungerlike? Only time will be able to tell. For now, join me in this adventure to explore the fantastic world of... F4 for full screen? What? Why is there not the title of the game in the title screen? Whatever! To explore the fantastic world of materialization of memories. The game starts with a very brief intro scene, where we get to know the main character. And I know what you're gonna say, yes, the game contains furries. No, I'm not a furry, I just want to see if this game is good. Screw you, let's continue. Where we get to know the main characters. Alvis, an unscrupulous scientist, Marna, a doctor, and Alexander, a security guard. They seem to already know each other, and Alvis wants to use Alex as a test subject. We are introduced to the very first puzzle of the game. It's a very simple one. You just have to check which line is connected to the dark green. But after we select it, there is a strange blackout. Apparently, even in case we selected it wrong, this was not supposed to happen. And the room feels different. We can notice there are several cracks on the floor. Something weird must have happened, and we have to investigate. But for now, we're gonna stop for a second because behold, gameplay. Of course, since we have the chance, I immediately check all the available menus. My attention is caught by the skill menu. All of them possess unique skills, and I can tell you this now, there are no other skills in the game. The skills you start with are gonna be used all the way to the end game, so it's better to understand what they do, right? To give you a general idea, Alvis is oriented towards a support character, with some skills usable in the overworld to give us some buffs while we walk. Alexander is mainly oriented towards attacking and tanking the damage of the opponents, and Marna takes care of healing party members and removing negative states. Also, I think I should mention, her design is apparently a reference to a character from the visual novel The Crown of Leaves. But let's go back. Just to remind you, in this point of the game, I still had no idea about the actual power we had in our hands with the skills. Also because, you will realize this later, the skills don't always tell you everything that they do. Also, I noticed I had a gun in the inventory for some reason, so whatever, I'm gonna give it to Marna. And at last there is a crafting menu, but for now it's basically useless. And now, let's proceed into the story. Apparently what we are seeing are the consequences of a dangerous phenomenon called the materialization effect. This will cause not only the creation of those weird anomalies you see on the ground, but also the appearance of monsters. They will appear based on emotions and experiences of those who lived in the place where the zone was formed. And that's where we enter into our first battle with a parasite. I think you can clearly see the inspiration taken from Fear and Hunger, right? In this point, I still have no precise idea about what to do during the battle, like, skills consumes energy after all. Will we have enough energy to use skills if we consume too much energy against the first enemy? If it wasn't clear, in this first part of the game I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative towards my resources. Is that a good idea? We will talk about this later. The most fascinating aspect I see in this game is that after you kill an opponent for the first time, you can spend a couple of energy points of Marna in order to create a document which tells you everything important to know about the opponent itself. You are allowed to basically create your own bestiary of opponents, which is a very nice reward, also considering the 99% of opponents will never drop items, and also reminds me of the bestiary function in games like Final Fantasy. Was I the only one who always checked the bestiary in those games? From a note we find, it seems Alvis is very reckless with his own experiments, even on himself. One time, he almost lost all his fingers for something. But I don't have too much time to think about that. The floor is full of soldiers' corpses. Did they encounter those monsters as well? Or maybe they encountered something worse? Yes, this is the first boss battle of the game. And it's scripted so you don't win, but I mean, I am a sucker for the trope of the boss battle where you have to lose. It sets up by itself so much hype for the moment in which we will actually be able to potentially get our revenge on this stupid idiot. Also, in case you've not noticed, his eyes were glowing. That's because he too was taken from the materialization effect. But we will keep talking about this later. For now, he's here just to get some alcohol and orders us to find it. At this point, we can explore all the remaining parts of the facility. The zone is not too big, but there are some treasure chests in the various rooms containing some more loot for us. And of course, where there is loot, there are enemies. In this moment, as you may imagine, I still had no idea about what I was doing wrong. Even what appeared to be a very simple battle ended up causing several injuries to my party. Like, look at that! What is this? This reminds me of something, but I can't exactly remember what it's making me think of, you know? And then, this happened. Okay, I think it's time to talk about the main mechanic introduced by materialization of memories. Are you ready? Remember when I mentioned that there are anomalies on the ground? Well, if you walk over them, you're gonna take damage or energy damage, or you get some very negative bad states. And we just happened to walk on two of those spots, one after another. And we died. Give me just 30 more seconds and we're gonna go back to this. At least we found a duty book. But apparently we signed it already, even if that's obviously not true. Regardless, by signing again, we have access to save files. Yes, in this game from the start we have access to infinite save files with no downsides whatsoever. Oh, and did you notice the stool transforming into a leech? Yeah, that's part of the materialization phenomenon. As we explore, objects will take the form of horrible abominations in the moment in which we least expect it. Found the alcohol, just give it to that moron, and finally, we are outside. And now, there are open roads, streets, the world is our oyster. Okay, I think it's time to talk about what the core gameplay is. Are you ready? This is a survival experience at the end of the day. The world is full of treasure chests containing healing items, weapons, armor, or items for crafting something new, of course. Enemies will be patrolling all the zones of the game to try and prevent you from getting more loot. But fortunately, they are still slower than you. You know what does that mean? You can just indiscriminately juke them and reach the treasure chests no problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Not only there are countless treasure chests, there are also countless tiles with these anomalies where you take damage. This may make your first gameplay experience really frustrating, because some of them are basically invisible. And there is another small thing I'm not mentioning because it was still not introduced, so we're gonna talk about it later, but I don't really like this mechanic. I don't know, at least for how redundant it is in the game, it seems like it tries to trivialize too much the simple walk on a street. But that's just my opinion. Let's talk about guns. There are various bullets going from a pistol to an assault rifle, and they're able to deal damage to opponents in the overworld. Once you shoot enough, a body part of the opponent is destroyed. Shoot even more, and you will just straight up kill them in the overworld. This proved to be, and will be even more as we continue with the video, the best way to take care of enemies. Enemies, especially early on, are something you absolutely do not want to actively fight. The battle can go from being a simple walk in the park to a complete party wipe in 1 second. Especially because, another important aspect, you cannot run away from battles. Yes, if an enemy touches you, you better be ready because there is no escape, one of you two will not see the light of day again. I think this was done as a way to make the player understand they should always be ready for any inconvenience and take advantage of guns, and strategically move to shoot beforehand. Which is something I don't really dislike. I mean, we are playing a Fungerlike, we are supposed to be ready for battles. By this point I was trying to experiment more with Marna healing skill, and I can say she is essential towards being able to survive. She has a skill which costs 10 energy, Saline Transfusion, which basically fully heals body and energy of a party member at the cost of 1 Saline, which can be crafted with the items you will find in the dozens of treasure chests. Seriously, never underestimate Marna healing skills. And before proceeding, there is one last thing I want to address. The game seems to be very open, like you can explore, loot, discover secrets, some of which we will see in a second. But, and here is my complaint, you cannot freely go around in the various zones. You can always go to the zones already unlocked, but God forbid you can go into new zones before the story actually allows you to do so. We don't need to go to the square right now. What do you mean we don't need to go to the square right now? Let me explore! Like, don't misunderstand me. There are some story buildings that are just locked, and you will get the key to open them as you play. But come on, we don't need to go there. Really? It really just feels unnecessary to me. Like, the majority of the story events is in buildings, not in the streets. And I feel the game would be much more funnier if at least this was not present. But okay, it was enough rant Polo 94. Let's go back to the story, okay? You found matter. No, that's the secret I was talking about. No. We're gonna talk about this later. Eventually, we reach Alvi's apartment. Here, the party has a little discussion about the importance of progress. Alvis is on the idea that progress is an essential part of life, regardless of which sacrifices it may require. Marna instead does not agree. She thinks there is no way to give different importance to lives of different people, and that no one deserves to be sacrificed, even if it means achieving progress. At this point, we reach the roof. Marna decides to spend some time alone. She's probably still thinking about the discussion. In the meantime, Alvis and Alex try to come up with a plan. They are able to see a checkpoint in the distance, probably where the materialization phenomenon ends. And also, there is some movement at the House of Culture. But that doesn't really matter to Alvis, that's gonna be just a plan B. The main direction now is the checkpoint. The discussion is interrupted by some weird noise. This girl, who also has glowing eyes, threatens to kill Marna. It is revealed that Marna, as well, experimented on test subjects. And so this girl wants to repay her with her own medicine. Now we are her test subjects. What are you ready to give in exchange for Marna's life? How much do you evaluate someone else's life? She was playing with us. She wanted to see the rot in our body. And we just fell for it. Miraculously, Marna was able to fall on a tree. Was it just pure luck? Or maybe the girl intentionally dropped her on a tree to make sure she survived, so she can torment us more in the future. Marna was visibly despising Alvis for his decision, but it was the most logical thing to do apparently. He is the leader after all. And she admitted she would have never jumped for him. Regrouped together, the journey towards the checkpoint starts again, and Alvis shows us the device he took from his apartment. It is able to make a sound when you are near an anomaly. That's fantastic, right? Now you have another way to realize when you need to pay attention. You can now run freely through the map as long as you are careful, right? No. There is a big problem with this. The sound, which happens when you are near an anomaly, requires like a half a second to start playing when you're close to something. So, if you're just running, you will not be able to realize when you're close to something. You have to walk. But if you walk, you are not able to outspeed the opponents. It is really only situationally useful for the invisible anomalies. But I don't really understand why. Dodging the anomalies was already a very frustrating part of the gameplay, and now there is also this beep that barely helps me. Also, do you see these zones differently colored from the rest? These are anomalous zones. They are full of anomalies, and inside of them, the sound device does not even work. I don't know, to me it really seems unnecessary to implement this item, especially because you cannot turn it off. But at least there is one positive thing we have access to now. Remember when we found accidentally matter? From now on, we can see matter in the anomalous zones, only for a couple of seconds before it was completely invisible. And why is it important? Matter are our accessories, we may say. They can provide stun resistance, extra HP, extra energy, and something else we will see later. They are fundamental towards being able to have an easier experience, or just to be able to complete the game at all. My suggestion is, every time you get access to a new zone, go immediately around the streets and gather all the available matters. Trust me, it requires around 2 minutes, and it saves you 30 minutes of deaths. Seeing a lich in the distance made me realize something very important also. I have to face easy opponents and preserve the bullets for the stronger ones. I'm also starting to make my own experiments on damage in battle. As an example, the lich has 2 attacking body parts, and Alex has a skill which prevents a body part from attacking for 2 turns. If Alvis and Marna attack one part and Alex stuns the other, we are guaranteed to win the battle flawlessly at the cost of a couple of energy points. Since I had the time, I also tried to finish the majority of the optional houses in order to get more supplies. But here it's where I have another complaint. Are you ready? Every stupid floor is almost copy-pasted from the previous one. The furniture is basically non-interactable. You will never have a situation in which you need to interact. There are always the treasure chests, so the furniture is completely useless. And the repetition of the models, which are not even interactable with, seems even heavier. Would you believe me if I told you these were like 4 different apartments with no personality whatsoever? There is always the same living room, the same kitchen, the same bathroom. Oh, the bathroom! I played the whole game now that I'm recording the voice, and I am almost sure I have never, ever seen anything inside a bathroom. Not even a treasure chest. Why the hell do bathrooms even exist without a purpose? Okay, they are done because it's an apartment. Do something with them! What I'm trying to say is the majority of the zones feels very bland and uninspired. Why Fear and Hunger was great on this department? Everywhere you go you have doors to interact with, crates, corpses on the ground, dialogue options, even just a flavor text. Even if it's not something that directly helps you with gameplay, it gives more soul, more heart to a zone. With only one exception. There was a puzzle in one of the apartments, where you had to like count the furniture items and then do some math, and you're able to open the vault to get extra items. That's good, it was kinda funny. It gave more personality to these copy-pasted zones. I would want to see more of these and less of whatever the fuck this is. Oh, and are you ready for the cherry on top, which was able to give me a headache? An anomaly! Unskippable in a house. Listen, it is definitely a skill issue to accidentally step on one, but there is always a skill solution, which is to pay attention and don't be a moron. Here, you stupid idiot. What do you want me to do? I never went to check what's on that side of the apartment, because I refuse to walk on an unskippable anomaly. Especially because that anomaly in particular is one of the most dangerous. It puts on you a very bad status effect. I despise this with all my soul. But hold on, you may say, Frapollo, if you keep finding stuff you don't like, why do you keep playing? Guys, it's because it's been a while since a game was able to make me feel even a little bit like I was replaying my first Fear and Hunger run ever. Full of questions, full of frustrations, even a little tip of masochism if we want, but still, regardless of how unpolished the experience was, I still was having fun by this point. Eventually I stopped gathering supplies and reached the checkpoint. Here, they do not let us in, since apparently people trapped in the materialization zone are able to cause this phenomenon automatically even outside of it, and the soldiers will not listen to any reasons. Even if our eyes are not glowing, apparently someone without glow in the eyes, someone who apparently was not a materialization, used a weird device to kill 8 people and steal supplies from them. Since the checkpoint is inaccessible, the plan B is the culture house we saw before. In the process, we find also a note in a house, which expands more on the materialization phenomenon. Not only monsters are created, but also more intelligent creatures, either giving anomalous properties to already existing ones, or creating a doppelganger of them. Which explains why the commandant and the girl on the roof look apparently more intelligent than the other creatures. Also, they appear to be able to revive after an indefinite time. Materializations cannot be killed for good. It can only be delayed. In the House of Culture, we find 3 more entities. They seem more peaceful, and apparently they have a plan to create a device able to receive any radio frequencies and reply to them. Alvis sees the potential in being able to contact the Materialization Research Institute and get some more informations, but the device is still not ready. We still need some cognac for the old man before he goes crazy, and also a radio circuit book. Also, I would love a distillation cube! Sure, we're gonna find it. I would like a book too! And I want a music tape, or I will go crazy! Guys, why all the side missions of the game at once in the same exact place? I don't know, it's not really a complaint, but I feel like they could have been distributed more equally through the game, but okay. Also, they mention how the commandant from the start of the game has been here. I still didn't forget anything. And so, I started exploring more of the houses. My gameplay loop at this point was dodge the stupid traps, get all the available matter, if there is a difficult enemy shoot him, otherwise fight him, loot stuff, and repeat. I think I am also becoming pretty decent at managing supplies. There were several opponents in the zones we visited for the missions, and overall, we were always able to come out of the houses with more stuff than we had before entering. At one point, we found the distillation cube, and with it, we were able to obtain the saber, which is a very powerful weapon, an incredible weapon if I should say, which is able to enhance a playstyle which I was already trying to follow for Alex. Critical attacks. We not only have a little coin, which is a matter which increases evasion and critical chance, now we also have the saber. Alex's game plan is becoming more and more clear as we proceed. And it is just the beginning. Right here, I decided to start proceeding with the main quest and went to the school searching for the book about the radio circuit. But something was wrong. There were 2 Alex in the same room. Both of them don't have glowing eyes. Is this what happened at the checkpoint? At least one of them is lying about their identity. And Alvis wants to ask something only the real Alex would know. Where were you when we came to the research institute? The one on the right went to the bathroom and did not even close the door. The one on the left doesn't remember anything. I guess there was nothing else to ask. Alvis knows very well Alex was in the bathroom. But also knows very well Alex wouldn't absolutely remember this kind of stuff. And it is revealed that the fake Alex in reality is some guy? Who the hell is that? Was this supposed to be a plot twist? Huh? And he goes away for now. Okay. I know this is a weird thing to say, but I am doing my best to feel involved into the story, to skip all the stuff I wasn't liking so far and to focus on the actual story. But I don't know. It feels like we are not playing the game. Like, we keep getting involved into these situations which don't really matter. It's not even the only time I feel like this. It already happened multiple times before, and will happen as we go. And I feel like the main reason for which I'm feeling this even more than in other games I played ever in my life is because there is not much else other than the main story in this game. Like, I already explained to you, the side parts of the game are pretty empty. And that's not the only weird thing that happens. As we leave the building, we get teleported into an unusual anomaly, where the scenario loops itself so you can never escape, and there is only one note which you can take inspiration from to understand what to do, which says when someone had his power and health dissipated, disappeared completely. I spent like 5 minutes trying to think about what to do before I just realized that the way in which you leave this part is by on purpose touching the anomalies to reduce your body and energy to 1. And you know why I am a little bit sad about this? When I entered into this zone, I immediately restored all my stats to be sure to be prepared to some battles, so I just wasted a lot of items. God damn it! Finally, we can move to the last required location for now, the department store. In here we're gonna find the cognac, and then we're gonna develop the device to talk to the army. This zone honestly seems easier than the others, or maybe I am finally starting to get better. The times in which I accidentally start a battle are finishing. I am more easily able to pick my opponents and shoot the others. But you know how they say, Overconfidence is a slow... No! I said this phrase in too many videos, I'm gonna stop saying it, okay? The worst is always the unexpected. And once we find the cognac, that stupid nurse comes again. Not only she stole almost all the cognac and a lot of the items we found, but also forced someone to drink some poisonous liquid. In my mind, Alvis this time was the one who was wondering himself if what he did on the roof was really the correct thing. Is there even a correct thing to do in those situations? And so, Alvis will drink it. Fortunately, nothing too terrible happened. If we can call this nothing too terrible, of course. Now that we have both the requirements to proceed into the main story, it is time to decide who to call. And there should be something in the city council able to help us. A telephone book that also contains secret numbers, such as the one of the Materialization Research Institute Alvis wants to call. By this point, everything seems pretty smooth. Just take the book and go back at the culture house. But aren't you forgetting someone? Someone which we already know was patrolling this area? The commandant was back. He possesses the book, and is not gonna give it away that easily. He wants to play a game with us, and the loser is gonna sit on a bottle. This apparently is also an actual torture method in real life. The one who is able to drink more will be the winner. During this battle, the commandant will also narrate his past, how he got involved into a fight, and ended up covered in blood. They did not have the money for a basin. His mother got dragged away by the current of the river while washing the clothes. And then he got drafted, and realized there are only two types of people in the world. People like him, and slaves. Alvis got destroyed in the game. But the commandant, fortunately, was just joking about the bottle, and just decided to leave by giving us the book. The three entities left the culture house to go to a vacation home in the private sector. Yes, there is a new zone, and you know what that means? New matter, new treasure chests to immediately loot. Once ready, reach the vacation house. The device is not ready yet, so the party can take some time to rest. Marna wants to resume the conversation about progress. She thinks progress should exist for them, and not the opposite. People shouldn't be sacrificed in order to gain progress. And it seems this discussion is slowly causing Alvis to change his mind about the topic. But he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. The device is ready. Transmission is not great, and the available time for communication is cut off short, but we are able to know that of the 3 groups sent to rescue survivors, only one could still be alive near a power plant and a radar out of town. We cannot go there immediately though, because we have another problem. The radiation level in this part of the town is excruciatingly high. Alvis and the others won't be able to resist for long without protection, while the entities being immortal don't even care about radiation levels. Luckily, there is a nearby hospital. Maybe in there we will be able to find the medications. Also yeah, the hospital is in a new zone, but this time I decided to not go immediately to take the matter, because our stats are heavily reduced with the radiation effect. The sooner we deal with this, the better. Retrospectively, I think the hospital was starting to feel like harder than the previous zones. Not only now we have to be careful to the previous problems, but it's also required to find a key in the building to access the deeper chambers, which requires one more step in the exploration, backtracking and more potential to make mistakes. Also because I think by this point my bullets were also starting to finish, which didn't help at all towards staying alive. Here something interesting caught my attention. There was a note which mentioned how a certain nurse called M. Zubina got moved to work on this island. A dragon lady, potentially involved in some deaths of this very hospital. And I think you know who this is talking about. Come on, I can't even pretend to create suspense right now. It is so blatant that now, oh, what is gonna happen? Of course we're gonna meet Zubina again. That's another problem I see in this game. Everything seems so blatantly obvious. And the only situations where that doesn't happen is when there is the opposite, where there is some just random bullshit you don't even know what's about. And honestly, you don't even care about. But now I want you to sit on your chair because there is gonna be the greatest plot twist ever created in a video game, okay? We approach the chest, which should contain the heal for the radiation effect, and guess what? Zubina approaches, and she already stole it. Wow. I would have never seen that one coming. But okay, sorry, let's go back into the immersion. She possesses all the vials able to heal from the radiation, and starts crushing them as we talk. She wants to have yet another game with us. She will give away the remaining vials if we kill a member of the party. Which brings up once again the same question. Are their lives more important than others. But this time, we are not even able to give an answer. Marna has had enough of this nonsense. The only one who is gonna die in this room is Zubina. Welcome to the first actual real boss battle. And let me take advantage of this moment to tell you the name of the soundtrack for boss battles is He Will Eat You to Pieces. And honestly, it's fantastic in its simplicity. If anything, this soundtrack in particular will always stay in my memories. And the battle itself is the first test of your equipment and your decision making. It is very difficult to win this battle without at least one of these two things. My idea here was to tank as much damage as possible with Alexander Taunt skill, while the others throw grenades at the opponents. This nurse has been a problem for way too long. Fortunately, with all the looting we did, we had a lot of grenades. We were able to take out the minion very quickly, and soon enough, all the body parts of the nurse are destroyed. The burn also did a great job in reducing the HP of the nurse, otherwise, potentially, she could have taken out one of my party members. And that's it. The battle is over. For now we are safe. For now, because remember, a materialization is immortal. It's just a matter of time before she comes back to life and starts haunting us again. And the real prize for the victory is not being healed from the radiations. No, it's something much, much better. Now that we can explore peacefully this zone, there is a new interesting matter to collect. Pocket Flask. And oh boy, Pocket Flask is hands down the strongest matter in the game. What it does is it almost immediately, every time you walk, restores your energy up to a max value of around 25. Why is this fantastic? Because Marna has a skill that costs 20 energy, which allows you to heal someone. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Now, unless we lose all the HP in a battle, we are always able to constantly fully heal the whole party with a couple of steps. And also we are assured to never go to 0 energy with any members of the party. If this is not called broken, I don't know what is. And you know, I was not too able to focus on this discovery when it happened, because in the exact moment in which I was playing this game, something else was happening. Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I have to show you something. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. Should I just stop playing until we reach it? The channel was almost at 100,000 subscribers. I would have loved to be able to reach them on a stream with all of you. But I sincerely hope this moment right here can make you live the experience with me even a little bit. 98, 98, come on, come on! 99, 99, 99, 99! Only one, come on! Oh my god. Oh, we did it. I will never stop saying it. Thank you so much, guys. If someone told me 2 years ago that in 2024 I would have had 100,000 subscribers, I would have not believed them. Thank you so much for this achievement and for being my second family. But now let's go back to furry fear and hunger! Remember when I told you the Pocket Flask was broken? Well, be ready, because we found a second one, and you know what that means? Probably no, because I still didn't talk about it. In the crafting menu, there is an option to combine 2 of the same matter with some other parts in order to create a stronger version of it. Now we have a Pocket Flask which allows us to get around 50 energy every single time. Welcome to the endgame. And since we already dealt with radiations, it's time for the power plant. Here we also found a weird note about a plan to become an entity on purpose, meant to be able to show what real progress means. So there is someone out there which would on purpose turn themselves into an identity for progress. But we are not able to think about it too much, because the guy we met in the past, you know, teleports us into another dimension? Huh? Okay, we're in a world where materialization effect is a real thing, but Other dimensions. Can't we just all live in another dimension and forget about the materialization forever? Whatever, this guy gives us a test to solve. There are 3 boxes with something written on them, and Alvis has to choose the correct one in 3 different rounds. With no other indication, this seems just pure luck, right? Well, there is a catch. After you try to select one of the boxes, the entity will reveal that another one is empty. Some of you, I think, already know where this is going. This refers to something called the Monty Hall paradox. I'm gonna try to explain it in the simplest manner possible. Take this moment right here. There are 3 boxes. 1 is good, 2 are bad. If you select one of the boxes and then someone else tells you another one of the boxes is bad, if you now change the option you took, you have more probabilities to find the correct one, the good one, than you had before. If you are more interested about the topic, you can look it up. It's called the Monty Hall paradox. And this can be applied even to more boxes, as long as all the bad ones except 1 bad and 1 good are opened. And I think the scientist just wanted to prove our intelligence. As he says, he wanted to see how Alvis is able to react in an extreme situation, considering that Alvis would be a great entity. With immortality, his experiments could drive the world towards greater heights. And now... we arrive to the technical tunnels. This is a nightmare. Do not go here unless you are fully prepared and have at least the normal pocket flask. The place is full of anomalies and opponents. We may consider it the final gauntlet of the game. 2 different labyrinths, back to back, very long, each one with more strong enemies than the previous one, and the visibility is terribly low. The enemies will basically just jump scare you every time you cross a corner. This location is definitely the funniest one. After hours of copy-pasted apartments, finally here, I start to see what this game potential was. I want to see more of these original dungeon designs, and less of whatever the fuck is this. And this is also the place where I finally realized that the strongest thing I could wish for was in my hands from the start of the game. You see, remember when I told you, skills will not always tell you everything that they do? Well, the taunt skill from Alex is one of them. Not only enemies are gonna target Alex more often, but Alex also gets a chance to counter-attack. Counter in this game is broken because it completely nullifies the damage you should receive and attacks the opponent. And remember, we have the saber, which does more often critical attacks. I think you know where I'm going. Between Marna constantly able to heal the party, Alex flexing his power, the labyrinth becomes a piece of cake. And finally, I am able to see the real possibilities opened from this battle system. Once we reach a safe spot, we have some more discussions between Marna and Alvis. And this seems the best moment to talk about a problem I think I should have mentioned at least like 30 minutes ago. What the hell is the purpose of Alexander in the story? He's a main character, but contributes nothing to anything. He's the most useless character I've ever seen. It's like freaking Van from Final Fantasy XII. One time Alvis mentioned he was never able to beat Alexander in chess or something, so he's supposed to be very smart but never does something intelligent at all. He was at the front with the others, goddammit. Like, look at the others for a second. Marna had a moment of reflection with the Dragon Lady, considering that she too made experiments on people and feels sorry and now probably is gonna grow as a character, etc. Alvis instead is slowly having a change of heart in his ideal across the whole game. What does Alexander do? Is he really needed? He could have been an empty husk instead of a character at this point. I'm sorry, I've had this in my chest since I started recording the audio for this video, and I finally said it. Now, let's go back to the furry game, okay? At the end of the 2 labyrinths, there was the entity waiting for us again. This time, he's more hostile and won't allow us to live. Does that mean we are coming closer to the end? The boss battle that comes now is different from the previous one. In here, you can actually fight him in the overworld by shooting. Of course, he won't stand still and take the damage. He's able to shoot as well, probably with the same device he used at the checkpoint in the past. And you know, since we have the option, I thought it was very funny to be able to defeat a boss battle like this. Also because at one point I tried to enter into the battle and... Yeah. So, goodbye, you moron, you won't be forgotten. And now we can take the weapon ourselves, the natural dosimeter. And after all this time, we can finally reach the final room of the power plant. There is a scientist working in there. And he talks as if he knows us. Also knowing our name, he knows we're called Alvis. And refers to an antenna. But then suddenly, he seems surprised once he turns around. What is going on here? Fortunately, this next battle is easier than the previous one, but what is happening? What was he trying to do? Was he one of the two involved in the creation of an entity written on the note we saw before? If we want to get access to the antenna, we need the key present in the barracks, hidden in a room full of washing machines. Washing machines. You may already know where this is going. And in case you don't, enjoy. After all this time, the one entity, the one enemy that I sincerely wanted to kill since the start of the run is in front of us. We have the chance to fight him in the overworld like the others, but no, I'm just gonna kill his slaves now. This guy, right here, deserves to receive a loss under his own rules to get the ultimate punishment. By this point, our game plan to face opponents was optimized so much that this guy right here can just look like the crybaby he really is. Without preparations, probably we would have been obliterated by him. Instead now, after a few counterattacks, it's already over. This is the feeling of revenge I was hoping to feel. All things considered, the build-up to this zone made me really excited about what comes next. Also, the soundtrack gave me similar vibes to the entrance of the Pokemon League, for some reason. Even though, here it's where I started recollecting my thoughts. There was something that didn't really connect. Why? That scientist knew Alvis' name. And who signed the first duty book of the game? Who could wish for progress more than the doppelganger of Alvis? If the plan works, the materialization phenomenon will be quickly spread to all the other parts of the world. No more death, no more failures, no more obstacles to achieve progress. Reject life to become better. It is at this point of the game that Alvis understands he was wrong. There will be no value of life in a world where there is no death. No more reason to make progress. Alvis and Marna were able to greatly change their point of view on the world as the adventure proceeded. But the doppelgangers, they are not able to progress. Welcome to the final battle. And this battle, damn if it's hard! My very first attempt lasted less than 30 seconds. All the opponents possess the best weapons ever and have multiple actions each turn. Did I mention I finished the majority of my Molotov and grenades during the battle against the commandant? No? Well, now we're screwed. But losing the battle is not entirely a waste. Ending B. The end of the familiar world has come. Will the new one be better? We will not know that today. What I know is that if before the battle you say not everyone will be better off, they are gonna be kinda confused and you can start the battle with a little advantage on them. This, combined with the recently discovered broken taunt ability and the use of almost all the items still in my possession, was eventually able to slowly make us gain advantage during the fight. The most problematic opponent, and the most strong one of course, is Marna once again. Her healing abilities are 10 times stronger than the one of the actual Marna. Entities are really stronger than real people. But we have something they will never achieve, no matter how many thousands of years they spend. And that's ending A. The spread of the materialization is temporarily stopped. Not forever, not everywhere, but we made our part in the process. You know, as you may have already understood, I have a lot of problems with this game, starting from the gameplay to the story, but I don't think I can condemn everything, because after all, think about it, even the first Souls-like were not that good, and today we have stuff like Lies of P. What I'm saying is, this may not be the best game on the planet, and absolutely not! It is absolutely not! I guess the 40 minutes we just spent ranting about the game proves you that. But hey, it's a beginning. And as you may know, if you never begin, you will never be able to progress. But I guess for today that's gonna be everything. So, what do you think about this game? Do you like it? Or are you one of those people that just skipped the video when I said there are furries? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe because that's gonna help me a lot. And what is the next game you want me to make a video essay on? Let me know that too. But for now, I was Frapolo94, and I will see you next time.